Hi, I'm Melissa,
And I'm Amber.
and you're listening to the AM Podcast.
Before we start the episode, we have an announcement. Today, the Black into K-Pop Coalition is taking over the Good Pods app. This app is like social media for podcasts. You can see what your friends are listening to, listen to your favorite shows, follow and talk to your favorite podcast hosts, like us. Hopefully we're some of your favorites, and do a lot more. So download Good Pods, that's GOODPODS, create an account, follow us, and join the Black into K-Pop Coalition group. Links will be in the description, and we hope to see you there.
So, today we are doing a review on the movie Always, which came out in 2011. We thought this would be a good movie to review since Valentine's Day is coming up, and so this could be considered, a romance movie. So, let's start with the synopsis. Jang Chol-min, a man with a dark, mysterious past, picks up a part-time night job as a parking lot attendant. A woman named Chung-gwa walks into the booth. She offers him candy and food and sits next to him. Chol-min realizes the woman is blind and she is confusing him for the parking attendant who worked there previously. Nevertheless, the woman comes back each night to watch the same television drama series with him. Chol-min starts becoming attached to the woman. They eventually move in together and start to live as a couple. But can their happiness last? I don't know. I guess we'll see. So, for the first section, I guess we're going to talk about is their character development. So, Amber, what did you think about the characters and their relationship?
I'm actually going to start with the relationship. I think the relationship between the two main characters, Chol-min and Jongla, was very natural. It didn't feel like artificial, because normally you watch movies and it's just something dramatic pulls them together, or their relationship builds out of in some dramatic way, but it just felt real this time. I will say that I don't know, the characters, they just felt like everyday people to me. Even though Chol-min had his past and Chungwa was blind, but there was still something just everyday typical person to me that I really loved about them. I will say what I thought was cute in the movie was in the beginning when Chol-min, you kind of saw that he was starting to fall a little bit for Chunghwa, and so he was making small changes and doing small things for her gradually. And it's he changed his shoes because she said that she had a sensitive nose to smell, and then he was watering the little plant and opening the window so she couldn't smell his feet or whatever. And so it was just cute little things. And he was there was a moment where he was talking about where he was sitting there and he could hear her coming, and he was she you. And there was just something kind of in what you said in the synopsis, there was something mysterious about him, but there was also something, I don't know, it felt kind of childlike to me, he was starting over from the beginning. And that's I know he was a man and he knew life, but I don't know, it was just childlike. So I thought about Chulman, but I think he was a really good guy with great intentions, and I think he had a really good heart. For Chunghwa, I think what I loved is that you never felt bad for her because she was blind. I feel in other shows or movies, feel I don't know, you kind of had to feel she needed help. I feel she was very independent. There were some things clearly that she might have struggled with just a little bit because she couldn't see, but I still think she made it through life. Everything was fine. I never looked at her as less than or needy or anything like that. And that's one thing I loved about it. She wasn't helpless. And I feel her character was just naturally lovable. And so, yeah, that's what I thought about the characters.
Yeah, I agree with you that I loved how normal this couple was. The way that they started the relationship, like you said, normally it's there's some big event or something that really pushes them together. But literally it was just them growing, their affection just grew out of just hanging out with one another, essentially. And that's how I guess, normal relationships are in real life. And I just loved how, and I guess that's why I also thought that their love seemed kind of pure because it was so normal, and which was so unusual for me, like watching from having watched other movies and dramas. Um, I guess later on we don't find out. Later on we find out more about Trollman's past,
Mm-hmm.
but I agree with you, and you were saying that he seemed a bit more. He seemed like a bit childlike, or um, something along those lines. You had said,
Yeah, I
and
said that.
I guess okay, um, because you were saying that it seemed like he was kind of starting over, and later on we realized like he actually is. That's because he actually was kind of starting over,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's interesting that from the beginning, that's kind of the vibe that I guess the viewers, that the viewers see from the beginning. Um, I guess particularly, I guess I was looking more. When I was watching, I was thinking more about their actual relationship with one another and how it kind of started and how it developed. But I would say that one thing that I did like about Jungwa was also just how optimistic she generally was, and I loved how she brought out the more softer protective side of Trollman throughout the the throughout the relationship, I guess. Like when he was following her because he cared about her after her the incident, I guess, with her boss. But even throughout all that, it never felt like, I feel like I'm gonna say this again later, but it never felt like watching it, and you also mentioned this, that it never felt like her blindness was like a hindrance for her.
Mm-hmm.
It was just something that she was, but it didn't like make her.
Yeah.
Um, so, or it wasn't like her, or like I didn't feel like her whole storyline was built around her being blind. So that was that's all I think I have to say about it. It was that's all I have to say about the character development. Was there anything else that you wanted to say?
Yes, I just wanted to comment on when you said that she softened his edges a little bit. I agree with that because I feel like he was really closed and like shut off, and he was just like, I just want to get through life. Like I just want to make everything right and get through life. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say I agree with you on that one.
Okay. So next, we're going to talk about our favorite and our favorite scenes and the scenes that we may not have necessarily liked throughout the movie. So we're going to start with our favorite scenes. So, Amber, what were some of your favorite scenes?
I would say my first favorite scene was it was okay, so it was after like she almost got like the car honked the horn, and like she fell into the beer and she hurt her ankle or whatever. And so he had her home, and so he was like, do you want to get on my back, like I can like so you don't you don't have to walk on it. And so she got on her back and she was like, don't regret it. And then he like turns the corner, and then all of a sudden he has to carry her up the stairs. And it was just so funny because he wasn't prepared for that. And she was just like, don't regret it. Told you don't regret it, or don't. She said something like that. And I thought it was so cute because he actually took her up all those stairs. And then there was like the little boy with the chopsticks, and he like, put him up his butt. So it was funny. And it's funny because she was like, if there's a kid on the corner, watch out for him. So that was like one of my favorite scenes because she was just like, all right, she already knew. She just knew what he was in for. And it was like she didn't really warn him either. So I don't know. That was one of my favorite scenes. And then my other favorite scene was later in the movie when he went to go do this, I don't even know, I guess an illegal fight or whatever. I really appreciated that, or I really liked that he won the fight and didn't get too hurt, because I really thought he was going to lose, because before that, like one of like the fighters that were fighting the person before was being dragged out and he was unconscious. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want this to happen to him. This can't happen now. No, they have to be together. What's happening? He's doing this for her. No.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really happy that he didn't get her and he actually ended up winning. So I was like, oh, okay, yay. So those are like my two top favorite scenes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the scene about when he was carrying her up the steps or about to carry her up the steps, that was hilarious too. Because at first when she said, because even the audience didn't know, or the
Yeah.
viewers, we didn't know what was coming, that he was going to have to go through all those steps either. And so when she first said it, I thought, is she heavy? Is that what she means? Like, don't regret it. But then, you know, he turned and all those steps, and everyone was like, oh. Yeah.
That's why. It's a lot of, it was a lot of steps.
It was a lot of steps. And then the other part, I was thinking, like, she went up all those steps. Like, she goes up those steps every day. Like, that's a lot of steps. Yeah, so she went up a lot of steps. And then he had to deal with that not only was the little boy, you know, poking him, but he had to also carry her on his back and go up the steps. So anyways, I agree, that was funny. Okay, so the scenes that I liked the first scene that I liked was when Chunghwa and Cholman exchanged rocks when they were at like the river. I think it was the river or the beach, or anyways, that whole part, that was just so cute. And to me, that was when they first kind of introduced that concept of always, and how they'll always be carrying a piece of each other wherever they go. And it was so cute because even to the end of the movie, they had each other's rocks. Well, at least I saw that he had her rock. I don't know that I saw that she had his rock, but he definitely had her rock when he was laying in the bed in the hospital all beaten up. And oh my God, that was just so cute. I was like, oh my God, always. Anyways, okay. And then that part was cute. And then the other one, oh, apparently I had a couple. Okay, so the other one that I liked was when Cholman was trying to convince Jungwa to get the eye surgery before her blindness, I guess, got worse. And I just thought it was so cute because he started talking about, like, oh, you know, don't you want to see me? Don't you want to see your kids? And I'm like, kids? So he's really thinking about having like a whole future with her. Like, it was just so cute because, like, and it was not just the fact that it was cute, but it just also reinforced how, like, she was really kind of, she was sort of like his lifeline at that point. Like, he she gave him something to, I guess, live for. And so I liked that part. And then my other favorite part, because I swear to you, I thought this movie was going to end with them not finding each other. And I was very, very excited when when Chungwa realized that the man on the crutches at the end towards the movie was actually Cholman. Because, okay, and then also I went through a bit of a panic attack when she couldn't find him. I was like, oh my God, are they gone forever? But but I thought for sure that was gonna be the end of the movie and she wasn't gonna find him, because the movie was like literally like 5 minutes from ending. And yeah. So yeah, like I said, you know, those were the scenes that I liked. So Amber, did you have anything else you wanted to say about favorite scenes?
Yes. I also want to say I thought it was really cute when they did introduce the concept of like always through the rocks. And another favorite scene that I just thought about was when I don't know if it's like a scene, I think feel like it's a couple scenes, but when he when he fixed the window for her and he shaved down the edges of the table in her house, and he took out the little, I don't know what it's called, but that little piece in the doorway so she wouldn't trip over it. I was like, this is so cute. This man is like this. He's like, this is for you. I'm in love with you. I want you to be okay. And I think that's the first time when I realized that she wasn't completely blind. Like, she could see like light, and she could see like, it was very, very blurry, but like she could still see a little bit. So, because I just thought she was 100% blind, like she couldn't see anything. And so yeah,
well, Oh, sorry.
No,
Sorry, I
I
didn't
just thought
mean
you were
to
gonna say
interrupt
something.
you. Um, I kind of knew. I kind of figured she wasn't completely blind in the beginning when they were watching the dramas, because I could have sworn she said when he was changing the stations, she was like, "Oh, this one, the gray one." I was like, "Oh, so she can see some sort of
Oh.
semblance of colors." I mean, I didn't know like how blind or she was, but I figured she could at least see colors, some sort of like colors or reflections of something. So,
Oh, I
um,
don't think I heard her say the gray one. I just heard her say this one, but I
uh,
didn't see that. Maybe I didn't read it. I don't know because it's
uh,
okay, subtitles.
oh yeah,
But
because he didn't know which one that she was talking about. And so she said like the gory one. But anyways, so but I yeah, that one was cute. And also another scene that I liked. Well, I don't know if it's really like a favorite or not, or like it's a scene that I liked, I
uh-huh.
guess. So later, so after the incident with her boss, he came in and he was like, he beat him up and whatever. And then she was like, go. And I don't think he really wanted to go, but he still went, even though she said went. And I just really respected that
Mhm.
part, that part of, like, I respected that, I guess, in general. Like, he was respecting her boundaries, and like, and he didn't like I didn't want it. I was hoping it wasn't going to be a movie where like he had like this savior complex, and like he was trying to save her from being blind or whatever, because I mean, she's over here living by herself. So I figured, she was independent in some form. Really, she was pretty independent. And so I like the fact that he did give her boundaries and listen to her, and wasn't just like, I'm gonna take, I mean, he did take care of her, but it wasn't like he was coddling her. So I just like that part of like their dynamics, that he still, like, he knew when to go, he knew when she needed him. And yeah, and just like she knew. Oh, I thought it was also cute. Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going all over the place. But so that was, I just want to say that I liked that part. Another part that I really liked was when he got beat up during one of the MMA fights, or I don't know, technically, I feel like they call it MMA. I felt like he was doing more boxing and the people he was fighting was doing MMA. But anyways, he got cut at one point, and he was telling the trainer, for him to, I guess he wanted to reduce the bleeding so that it wouldn't, like, he wouldn't have like this big bruise, because he was like, oh, she's gonna kill me.
Mhm.
Because I just thought that was so cute, because it was like, because he knew, because that's how she recognized him, right, by like using her hands on his face. And he knew that if she felt a bump, that he was very badly injured, and it was gonna make her feel bad and make him feel bad. And I just thought it was cute how like he like cared about her, and like, okay, that's all I had to say.
No, that was cute. I don't know. This movie had a lot of really good scenes, and it's like a lot of
Yeah.
good scenes that help build their relationship and their characters.
Yes.
And you really saw how much they loved each other without straightforward saying they loved each other. Because I think the first time they kissed was I think when he fixed the window. I think that was the first time I saw them really kiss.
I know what you're talking about. Was that might have been the first time? Yeah, in the movie. I feel like I think I agree with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
I
all I
was
had to
really
say
trying
about
to
favorite
think.
scenes.
Okay. All right. So moving on to the scenes that we didn't like. Amber, what were some scenes that you didn't like in the movie?
I didn't like the scene where her boss tried to like rape her. I hated that scene completely. I mean, I did like the fact that Cholman was able to come in and like stop him, but at the same time, like that should have never happened in the first place. And I also just hated
Mm-hmm.
all the scenes and moments where her boss was being a creep, because even
Mm-hmm.
at the workplace when he was talking to her, he was giving her like a slight massage, and then on her birthday, I think it was her birthday, he brought her into the office and gave her a gift and like put his arm around her, and I was like, what? Why are you being like this? And then even in the scene where he did try to do something to her, like he was like he mentioned like getting her um like a necklace. He got her a necklace. And then he said, like, do you think I give people a necklace like this to just have sex with them? It was something like that. And I was just like, this
Mm-hmm.
guy is so dirty and disgusting, and I hate
Mm-hmm.
it. And I just hated it because like part of it was like I also felt like he was taking advantage of the fact that she was blind,
Of
because
course.
he didn't even show up. Like he was just sitting outside of her apartment, and she didn't
Yeah.
notice him until I think he took a drink of whatever, like a wine or something. So I don't know, and I hate that he just forced himself in there. So I hated it. So I completely didn't like that scene at all. And then the second one that I didn't like, mainly because it was kind of like really, really sad to me, was that after Cholman, everything happened to him after the fight, the illegal fight. When he was in the hospital and she had finally got her vision back, and she was like, I guess she was volunteering at the hospitals, giving massages and stuff. And she came to give him a massage, but like, she doesn't know what he looks like because he left before she could see, which made me angry again. Anyways, and she came and I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be so good, because when she gives him a massage, she's gonna know it's him, because she's so used to like, giving him massages after his matches and whatever. But it made me really sad because she was like, oh, he lost a lot of muscle. And so I was like, she's not gonna remember him because he lost so much muscle. And if she remembered his hands, like, because she was trying to remember everything by like touch and everything. And so I was like, she's not going to remember him because he doesn't have the muscle that he once had, so she's not going to know it's him. And so I was like, oh, that's so
Mm-hmm.
annoying. But then I thought for a moment I remember him when they looked each other in the eyes, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she did. So yeah, I really didn't like that scene. It made me sad because it's just like, you guys were there, you were looking at each other, you were there, like you guys knew each other. Ugh. But I also felt like she might have known it because she tried to look at the name, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't his real name. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna go on. This scene was just sad.
Those seem as definitely a roller coaster of emotions because, like you said, it was she could see now. It was their first time seeing each other with her being able to see. Um, I think, yeah, when she was, I feel like there for a second there was like a moment where she may have recognized him,
Mm-hmm.
but when she looked at the name and saw it was someone different, she was probably like, okay, whatever. I guess it's not him or whatever. Um, so going back to, I just have one thing I wanted to say about your first scene about when the boss tried to rape her. Um, I also like when he showed up at her door, I was like, this man is such a creep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is like this. Yeah, I also hated that scene. I also hated that scene. I didn't put that though. I didn't. I had a couple other ones that I thought of, but I agree with you. The scene was awful. The fact that he showed up at her door, like the fact that he was a creep at work, but the fact that he showed up at her door, I was like, this man, something's wrong with him. Like, he's insane.
Yeah, and he had the
Um,
nerve to sit there and be like, "Oh, you lied to me. You're not doing anything after work. Like, you don't know that. You don't know what this woman's doing." Sorry.
exactly. It's none of your business. This is after work. I am not on the clock.
Exactly. So entitled.
Ridiculous.
Sorry.
So okay, so no, it was a very frustrating that whole scene with him. Any scene with him was just frustrating.
Yeah.
Um, so the scenes that I didn't like when he got stabbed, when
Mm-hmm.
Tolman got stabbed at the end, because I thought he was going to die, and I really thought that's how the movie was going to end. There were so many times towards the end I thought this movie was just going to end because movie's only 2 hours. I was like, is this how it's gonna end? Is this how it's gonna end? But anyways, so because like I thought he was going to die, and then she was going to wake up and be able to see, and then maybe start a foundation or something in his name. That's what I thought was going to end, and I was like, oh, this movie's awful. But he didn't die, but that I was very scared he was going to die, so I didn't like that scene, of course. um I didn't, as I said this earlier, I didn't like when Chunghwa lost him in the. No, I didn't. No, I don't think I finished saying that part. I didn't finish the whole scene earlier, but I didn't like when Cholman came back on crutches and he went to stop by, I guess, the place where she was dropping off pottery. I don't know if she actually worked. I think she was dropping off just pottery. Anyways, and then he went away, and then Jungwa realized that, oh my god, that was him. And then she went to ran after. She ran after him. She lost him in the crowd. I was like, oh my gosh, is this how it's going to end? Is she going to run in the crowd looking for him, and he's not going to be there, and it's just going to end like just like that, and we're just never going to know what happened to them? Like, I really thought it was going to end at that point. So I didn't like that part either, because it was just so much. It was the end was just such a roller coaster of emotions for me. And then the the other scene I didn't like was I didn't like the scenes where Jungwa's blindness was kind of portrayed as her weakness. I mean, it wasn't that many, but I felt like, like there were points where in the movie where it was like, okay, this wouldn't have happened if she wasn't blind. I don't know, just something about it just didn't sit right with me. But like the part where her apartment flooded and she couldn't find the source of the flooding, it made me kind of sad for her, and I didn't want to feel sad for her. And then anytime she got injured, because there was in the beginning, with the beer bottles, and she hurt her ankle, and then when I think she might have, I don't know, I guess the pot was hot or something like that later on in her apartment, and she like dropped the pot or something, and she was cooking, and her wrist got injured, and she had to go to the hospital. Like, these, I feel like were things that wouldn't have happened most likely. Well, honestly, I feel like the whole beer bottle thing, that probably would have happened to anyone, because that driver was going too fast. So I think I probably would take that back. But the other two incidents, to me, it just felt like I didn't like that it was like a playing on her blindness, or I don't know, or like instances in where, like, if she wasn't blind, this wouldn't have happened. But yeah.
So I don't know if I agree with you. It could just be because we interpreted the scenes differently. But like when her apartment was flooding, I thought that she just kind of gave up just because she like slipped and fell in water and she was wet. And I know, like me, I probably would have been like, ugh, forget it. I'll deal with it later. Just because like now I have to go change my clothes. So that's how I felt about that. And then the beer bottle thing. Well, I mean, you said you don't know if that was because she was blind, because the guy was going fast, and I would have been startled too, though, if someone just honked at me like that. And then you said at the end, so I kind of had a question about that scene where she like dropped it. I guess it was like dropped on the floor when he came home and she like hurt her wrist or whatever. I was wondering if that happened because I remember in the scene that we talked about was like the worst scenes was when her boss came in, she had mentioned like, oh, I can't use the stove or fire because he wanted tea, and she was like, all I can offer you is juice. And so I was wondering if she was trying to do something nice for Chulman and have like, I don't know, something cooked for him when he got home or something, and that's how all this happened. But yeah, so I don't know, but I guess that would be a scene where she was portrayed as weak because like she couldn't use the fire. Okay, so yeah, that's what I thought about that part. But I also wanted to mention when you were talking about like her not being able to find Chulman in the crowd when she got her eyesight back, all that good stuff. Like, I thought that scene was just a lot because the dog recognized him, and she didn't pick up on it then, but then when the turtle was missing, she was like, oh snap, that was him. And then I don't know, I felt it in my soul. I felt the heartbreak or pain that she was going through when she like finally like collapsed to the ground. It was like bawling her eyes out. I was like, oh my gosh, she really thinks she lost him. She lost him. And then like she was like going around and trying to find him, and she was trying to figure out where he was, and then like, at the end they found out where he was. So yeah, so I agree with you. Like, I really didn't like that scene because it did feel like it was like the end, but it wasn't. But it did feel like the end. I thought that was like where it was going to stop.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's a happy ending because they found each other. So that's all I wanted to say. But I also wanted to add that like I thought it was cute I thought it was cute in this sad moment when he was in the hospital when he was getting massaged by her, is that he was clutching to the rock and it was in his hand. And I was like, it's so cute because like he never forgot her, and it's just like okay. That's all I had to say about that.
Okay. I mean, we can agree to disagree about the apartment flooding scene because technically she wouldn't have been slipped and fell if she knew how to where the source of the flooding was, and if she could see, she would be able to see the source of the flooding and wouldn't have gotten frustrated, and she wouldn't have asked him to come up to help her with unflooding it, because that's when he found her panties and she was like, "Oh, I wondered where those were." But I mean,
Is that the scene where she also gave him the ticket?
tickets. Yeah.
Okay. I was it was literally just a question. I
Oh.
was just curious, but I thought she was smooth with that. She was like, "You can, yeah, here's tickets. Thank you for your help. Maybe you can go with your friends." And I feel like she knew that he really didn't have a lot of friends, and so he was like, "I don't have friends." She was like, "Oh well, we can go together." That was so cute. I was like, "Ooh, smooth."
And her hair afterwards, I forgot
Oh
about
my
her
god.
hair. I'm pretty sure that hairdresser lady did that on purpose. There's no way she would have willingly chosen to have that hairstyle.
Yeah, she was fully taken advantage of at that point. It was cute when she had to pull back, but out. Even he was like, "You got your hair done." Like,
But I'm glad he didn't say that it looked that he didn't say that it looked bad or anything.
yeah.
So that was nice of him. Okay. So, do you have any overall thoughts of the storyline or of the movie in general?
Overall, the movie was great. I really love the movie. I think it does showcase like the ups and downs. Not really the ups and downs, but like a solid relationship, and it not being too dramatic. It's very happy. It's not complicated. It's just simple. And you don't often get to see a simple relationship in movies and dramas. And so it was really refreshing to see that. I love how, like, I don't know. I just love how their relationship developed. I hated that at the end, like, they really, for a moment, they couldn't really see each other. I didn't like that because, he was trying to hide it from her. I still don't understand why he didn't just go find her. Well, I guess it's just because he didn't want her to see him that way. But anyways, I feel like he should have just did it because she's gonna love him regardless. Okay, anyways, went off on a tangent.
Having a whole conversation by herself, and I'm sitting here like, okay, I forget. Yeah, yeah, maybe that's why.
Oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. Okay, I need to stay focused. Okay, moving on to my next overall thought. I think the story of how they were connected was like kind of low key wild to me, because it was the time when he was a bad boy. I and I mean, he didn't set the guy on fire. He was actually trying to save him. I understand that, but it's just crazy because I know he felt like that was his fault that she lost her eyesight. And so I don't know. It was just a lot. I was like, wow, this is the connection. I also felt like it could have been a little bit stronger, but I don't know. It's an older movie, so I don't know how the storylines went, because I feel like now we have some really crazy out there kind of connections.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it was like a good connection for the movie because it wasn't too much and didn't overshadow their relationship. So I thought that was good. And I really like, I guess this is my last thing for Chulman's like character development. I think it's just interesting to see, like, in that moment from where we found out what he used to do after he quit boxing, like, this just the flip in the person that he was, like the one that we knew from the beginning of the movie to the person that he used to be. It was just like a drastic flip of of his character. And so I really like that. And he was just like a total bad boy before everything, but I feel like it opened his eyes, and I'm really happy he changed, because then he would have never met Chunghwa, and then we wouldn't have an awesome movie. Okay. I'm talking about these people like they're real. I'm shutting up. Go ahead, Melissa.
I agree with the character development. So that was a great analysis on that part. I also thought that just overall it was a really great movie. It was very emotional. And I just really appreciated the fact, because I feel like in a lot of movies, like there's something within the relationship that causes them to break up, and then they have to like overcome that and whatever, whatever. And they never really got. I don't think they really got into any fights. Like the reason why they didn't even really break up. The reason why they sort of broke up was because of the illegal fight that he was a part of, and he almost died. And
Yeah.
so it was like external. I like the fact that it was external circumstances, I guess, that caused them to sort of break up and not really break up. And it wasn't anything that like happened between them that caused them to break up, because I don't know, just I find that annoying sometimes, because it's like sometimes the couples can fight over the silliest things or silliest misunderstandings, and they have to like overcome this throughout the movie. And anyway, so I liked that. And I feel like I've said this like multiple times, but I like the fact that her blindness was never mentioned as like a hindrance or like a reason for why they broke up, because I was afraid that that was going to happen, that for some reason he's going to be like, oh, you know, you're such a burden on me. But he never he never said that. And so I really I really like this movie. It was a little violent. So I had to kind of get used to that, but outside of that, I would still consider it like a romance movie. And yeah, I liked it.
I just want to like touch on what you said about her being a hindrance. I feel like, well, I guess also something you mentioned before was that she was so independent. And so I think that helped in her not being a hindrance. Cause like if she had to play this like, oh, woe it's me, help me role, then maybe I feel like the relationship wouldn't have lasted. But because she was like her own person and handling her stuff, you know, doing big girl things, she she was just there. And I feel like I think you mentioned this as well, that she was really helping him more than he was helping her. Well, I mean, I guess it was kind of, because I feel like she was just living like a regular life before, but now I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but like they I was about to say purpose, but purpose wasn't it, because I felt like she had a purpose. But I just felt like, I don't know, they brought light into each other's lives. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah. Do you have anything else to say about overall thoughts?
No, I don't think so. That just about covers it.
All right. Well, that was our review on the movie Always. Um if you've watched this, please let us know what your thoughts are, or if you're going to watch it, let us know. If you've had any favorite scenes or anything like that, you can let us know on Instagram and Twitter at @the_AM podcast. The links are in the description. If you like this episode and want to hear more, subscribe to the podcast. I guess we should say a happy Valentine's Day, or happy early Valentine's Day, because I think it's going to be on Sunday. So yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for listening. Stay safe and talk to you next week.